There is a whole lot of good news going on for Tesla these days, and there is also some very, very bad news. But you know what I always find when the news is really bad? It's also generally just terrible news. And I don't mean terrible for Tesla, I mean it's just badly made in the first place. And what do we have to do? Well, we have to address it, don't we? And we have to have some fun while we're doing it. That's why I brought on Randy to giggle at my terrible jokes as we tear down these horrible...
Somebody has to have that job. Somebody needs.
And that's why, I don't know if you know this, but I'm Brian. Welcome to Futuraza. And Randy Kirk, yes, from Randy Kirk. You know who Randy Kirk is, everybody. Oh, come on. We know who Randy Kirk is. Hey, forget Tesla. These EVs offer similar range and performance. Okay, sure. Now we're talking the Model 3. Here's the best alternatives for the Model 3, which, starts at $42,490. Okay. But why not a Hyundai?
Well, what I've said all along, Brian, I think Hyundai and Kia are going to be players at the end. I think they will be one of the teams that actually makes it to the finish line a decade from now.
Let's say,
are they there now? But are they there now? I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, you got to where I was going. If you didn't, let's say you didn't have this channel. Let's say you weren't a Tesla investor, but you just owned your Tesla and you know what it does. You know how it operates. Would you buy the Ioniq?
No, I wouldn't.
No, because there's something missing. Well, but it starts less, right? But it doesn't have the federal incentive, meaning this price is actually higher than a Model 3 for less range, less horsepower, and less efficiency. And it doesn't have any autonomy. BMW i4. Now, you've owned a BMW, haven't you?
I have never actually owned a BMW. No.
Well, price starts at 54, but do you know what happens when you start at 54 with a BMW?
You probably have to pay for the wheels.
And up to way less range, 20% less range, for a battery that's larger, significantly larger than the Model 3. Not great.
No.
Yeah, Polestar. Come on. It's
now I have owned Volvos, so at least I'm close.
You're close. 51,000. Is this a real? Oh no, sorry. Starting at 66,000 for 100 miles less range. Wow. That's not great. No. So let's talk about Model S alternatives. Lucid Air Pure.
Yeah. So I don't, people have talked about the Model S as maybe still being the best car ever built at the time. So, and it's been upgraded and it's, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be close.
My concern with the Lucid lineup is that Lucid won't be around to honor the warranty, and that warranty repairs will absolutely happen. Their warranty accruals and payout rate is very high. And I don't know. If they're not selling very many, even at the very attractive price of sub 70,000 for what is a very luxurious, comfortable, fast car, they just no one's buying them.
Yeah.
And it does get fantastic range. I'll give them that. Mercedes EQS. Ugh, that styling is not for me.
Yeah.
Starts at 104. Do you think starting at 104 is really all that comparable to starting at 70?
Yeah. Obviously they still have knobs and, maybe real mahogany and a few, but for $30,000.
BMW i7. Well, that looks like a Lincoln. Yeah, very futuristic. Starts at 105. And again, it just starts. So I'm going to say all of those very ridiculous. But you know why you should buy any of those is because they don't suffer from recalls. Recalling 700,000 vehicles due to tire pressure monitoring system issue. Now, Associated Press was the first to break this story. And because they're a news wire, everybody just published it.
Yeah.
Well, they just no, they just republished it. They
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
the AP affiliates just
Right.
ran it as is, and that became the dominant headline. Now, when we say that they recalled 700,000, what did they actually do, Randy? Do you remember?
Well, I think there was something about that without you even knowing it. The next time you checked your car, there would have been an update, and those would all be repaired.
Worse, it was already done. It was
So, yeah,
already done. It was done. It was already done. So what I did is I went to the old Google News and I searched Tesla recalls 700,000 vehicles to see how many of these
oh,
included the anything indicating that it was not a physical
yeah,
recall,
recall.
but
Yeah,
over the air. And the answer was scroll as you may, literally none of them
yeah,
include the verbiage, not
right.
one. And you'll notice the headlines are almost all identical. So
Yeah,
good job, guys,
yeah.
creating dumb panic.
But did you notice that NISTA apparently in their information now included that it was an over-the-air update, and
I
people and that that would be the first time they've ever done that after some possible change in administration is coming to town. So I don't know if that encouraged them to start being fair and honest with regard to their reporting, but they did include it, and now there's a quite a bit of conversation on the X, on X about what should this be called? I think Larry Goldberg said it should be a software patch. This would be the proper term. Yeah.
Yeah, patches is what I would absolutely call it. Here's the problem with those recalls, by the way, is if a recall can be completed within a certain amount of time, you are required to do it. If it's going to take longer than that, you can fight it and not do it. Because everything Tesla does can be fixed over the air with a handful of exceptions, they're required to do them. If your company starts doing over the air updates, you will see the number of recalls you have increase. So let's actually compare. Sawyer Merritt went ahead and put this together for us. I dug into the Fiat Chrysler, the data. Fiat Chrysler was the most recalled automaker when you count in person, where you actually have to bring it
Right.
in.
Right.
And here's the numbers he came up with. Fiat Chrysler, 5 million in person physical recall vehicles. Ford, Honda, GM, you go down the list, you get all the way down here. Tesla, 39,000 vehicles had to physically return to a service center for something, a latch or a sensor or whatever it may be. 39,000.
And I'm
Even
gonna
Jack,
yeah,
yeah.
and I'm gonna bet that a lot of those were multiple times on the Cybertruck, which is a
Oh, yeah.
first year vehicle with a complete like all kinds of new tech, using
Yeah.
all kinds of new approaches in terms of stainless steel, etc. So they had, I think, 3 or 4 different recalls of 7,000 or 5,000 or 3,000. I think there was a maybe as many as 4 recalls. So a bunch of those are just the Cybertruck.
Jaguar Land Rover had 3 times as many recalls while selling 1/10 the vehicles. I mean, 111,000, that's got to be every last one they sold.
Right.
Ridiculous. But, I wouldn't hold up Jaguar Land Rover as a paragon of reliability.
Yeah.
But yeah, these numbers, well, how come these aren't in the news every day? How irresponsible of the media. Fun fact, these are in the news every day. If you search, you will find them. If you type in Toyota recall, you will find them. It's just that they don't go viral. If you want people to see your Toyota recall, you have to say Tesla competitor Toyota has recall.
Right. Right.
That is how you do it. Now, Randy, we're talking silly, silly stuff, and if we're going to do that, we have to really get goofy. We have to, of course, be fools. The Motley Fool, who I've always criticized because they like to play both sides of everything all the time. Is Tesla a millionaire maker? Well, they successfully disrupted the auto industry. The stock has been on a tear, which has driven to the valuation to nosebleed levels, lofty expectations. Yeah, and I mean, you can imagine what they're saying. I definitely don't doubt that early shareholders have gotten rich. Yeah,
Quite a few.
not to brag. Uh, I say sitting in an office that is currently just shy of 60 degrees. Uh, but they, hey, it's a high life, baby. But yeah, the fool is, of course, being a fool because they're saying, well, look at that. I mean, of course it went up. We've got these huge gains. If only there was a way to look back into the past. Is Tesla stock a buy? This is from November 30th. This is so fresh.
Oh,
This is
yeah,
so fresh.
yeah.
Uh, Tesla's revenue growth isn't what it used to be. Investors are betting on the promise of a robotaxi fleet, but we've got slowing growth. And, according to Wall Street, Tesla's revenue will increase at a rate of 12% for the next few years.
Mm.
This would certainly be, I mean, guys,
Won't
we're,
age well. Won't age well.
it's already not aged well. Then we've got, I mean, again, we've got a time machine here. October 5th, buy, sell, or hold. Boy, I can't imagine what they said. But if we could scroll down and find out what they said, why it's this. It is not a buy in
Yeah,
October. In
yeah.
October.
October. Yeah,
Ah,
yeah. Not
ah,
good. Not good.
those were bargain basement deals, fool. Mhm.
Now, Brian, the reality is, as we sit here today, even the bulls are calling for seven, eight
Caution.
hundred, seven,
Oh,
eight hundred,
yeah.
no, 7 or 800 at the end of next year. So we're only
Ooh,
talking doubling.
yeah. 2x. Yeah. I'm not saying the stock is going up next year. I'm saying if you believe what Motley Fool has to sell you, you are their product. You
But
are,
but Brian, my point was, if you have a stock that you're darn sure is going to double, you
mhm.
know, based
Yeah,
on every metric that you can throw, and then you throw in some optionality about something about robots and cyber cabs. The fact that it's going to double next year, might be a buy. I think
might,
the Motley
maybe,
Fool might think that. I don't know. Yeah.
maybe. Tough to say. But again, if because we have a time machine right here, two reasons to sell Tesla stock right
Oh,
now
no.
in August. Boom. Sell it, sell it. Got to sell it right now. But there is one reason to buy. So the trend is no longer Tesla's friend because, as you know, past results always predict future returns. They're down. Oh man, down year over year, down from the growth rate is down.
Yeah, the growth
The,
rate.
the
Yes.
growth rate, it's still growing, mind you.
Yes. Yes.
Now, this is saying that, yeah, it's slowed to 2.6% year over year in the first quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just going to tell you that's not the way to measure it. And the first quarter was when there was the slowdown for the Highland retooling.
Right.
Terrible, terrible analysis.
As well
And
as
the val,
some Houthis shooting off, all kinds of things at ships, causing delays and problems with vehicles or the ships having to go around the Cape of Good Horn.
yeah. Let me look at this real quick and see if I can find it. August, beginning of August. Okay. Because we're talking August 6th here. It is more than doubled since then.
Yeah.
And they are saying the Tesla's valuation no longer makes sense. So please miss out on a doubling. Uh, but here's the reason to buy it. Elon can change the narrative. Do you think? Love him or hate him, he's arguably a one in a million CEO. Fact check
Arguably
true.
a 1 in a million CEO who has 210 million followers on X, which he
Yeah.
can speak to at any given moment, and does commonly.
Yeah. And I'm sure none of them are bots.
None.
And I'm sure only a few thousand of them are pretending to be him. Well, while he's had his fair share of failures, really?
Really?
Hmm.
Hmm. Yeah.
I don't think he has. I don't think
Yeah.
he's had his fair share. And I, believe me,
I'm trying
I'm
to
a,
remember.
I'm kind of an expert on failure, Randy. He's also built cutting edge businesses ranging from space exploration to brain surgery, SpaceX and Neuralink. Oh, thank you, fool. His bold and unorthodox management styles helped his companies pioneer new operational strategies that were often imitated by the competition later. Oh, fool.
Yeah.
Fool, what are you doing? Would you believe the article continues?
Oh,
Don't
no, it
ma-
is.
Oh, and no, it continues into promotion for themselves.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
With that. Oh, not
yeah.
the Motley Fool. They
So
never that
yeah,
was themselves.
big recalls. Who knows? You should probably sell. What I've been telling people once it hit all-time highs is definitely sell, and never come back and tell me that me or any of my friends told you to buy and you lost money. I never told you to buy. I've never heard Randy tell you to buy. I've never heard any of the people that I follow tell you to buy. Um, we try to give you information. I hope you make the best decision that makes sense for yourself.
Right.
And yeah, I think,
Yes, we all we I put the NIA after many of my sentences. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. The missing in action, nissing in
And
action,
and as in
and nissing,
not
yeah,
investment advice. Yeah.
Nissan in action,
It's
right?
it's not an action.
Yeah, yeah. That merger, it's great if you take Nissan, which is, you
Almost
know,
done, almost gone.
Yeah, and Honda, which has
Yeah,
no clear path, and
right.
now today we find out Mitsubishi wants in
Oh,
on the party.
Mitsubishi, I was
Oh,
thinking
man,
yeah.
you guys bring so much nothing to the party. It's like we're having a buffet and everyone brought cups.
Do you know the funny part for me? Well, I don't know how funny it is, but I bought Acura on the spot. I walked
Mm,
into a showroom, had no idea, had just heard the name, was driving down the street, walked into the showroom. They took me through the Acura, and for all the same reasons I love Tesla, this was like the first year. For all the same reasons that I love Tesla, Acura in the first year did it. They completely changed automotive history, not in the ways that Tesla has, but on at that time, at that level, I mean, things like putting the word water on the little plastic thing that covers the water, the cap, they put
right?
water on there. Nobody had ever done that before. And they did that everywhere. But they had so many cool things. I bought it on the spot. And then that was it. Well,
Yeah, it was a Honda, but better. Just like Lexus was a Toyota, but better.
better.
Those were fantastic cars. So, guys, ridiculousness, absolutely silly. Hey, YouTube did a bot purge. So apparently, all those crypto scammers that I've been banning from my channel, who had subscribed to me, have now had their accounts deleted. So my subscriber count dropped. Make sure you didn't get caught in the dragnet of of accounts that were removed for looking too much like a bot. I am very aggressive with my filters. If you see spam, by all means, let me know, because I am always tweaking the settings to make it better. Everybody else, like, subscribe, comments remain mandatory. You know what you're doing, and stay tuned, stay juicy, and I cannot wait to hear from you, clever robots, on the next one.